Governor Cardoso and its new team at the top of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) can be forgiven if the current cash scarcity being experienced has caught them by surprise. They were not in office in March when it was predicted on these pages that another round of cash scarcity was inevitable after the one induced by the CBN then. Before going into the reasons why we are not free of this problem yet, permit me to make one observation which will be helpful to the current CBN management. Statements such as people are holding cash are more emotional than technical or professional, and they seldom solve the problem. Without finding out why people are withholding, my own term for what is happening, cash, instead of talking or taking them to banks, the CBN will become like the young cat chasing its own tail and running around in a circle. The announcement that more cash had been sent to banks to ease the current cash scarcity will also not solve the problem. More cash will simply disappear from the banks into private hands. The victims and survivors of the cash crunch of February and March this year will not soon forget that banks cannot be trusted to return the cash surrendered to them as and when needed. Two examples will help to illustrate how bank-client relationships are deteriorated. Mr. Y, a personal friend over 80 and in poor health, stopped keeping a lot of cash at home to pay the recurrent expenses require cash payment. He relied on two sources, ATM machines and POS operators. There was no problem until current exchange when cash from both sources became extremely scarce. Two hosts to struggle at ATM machines and not receiving enough from his trusted POS operators. He almost died until he made a deal with POS operators 75 naira for 100 naira withdrawn from his account. It was a steep price to plot to connect one's money deposited at banks. Mr. X, now dead, was a successful cash and carry trader illiterate. He had no bank account until the currency change forced him to open one. Despite that, he waited until the last 3 days to deposit over 7 million naira into the account. He waited for 2 weeks before going to the bank for the money. A major shock awaited him. The bank, which collected his money without asking for his BVN, now insisted that he must produce one to receive a kobo back. Even then, the most he could expect at once was 200,000 naira. It was literally a death sentence. He did not die in the park. Who said? Yes, it was literally a death sentence. He did not die in the bank. He staggered home before collapsing in a heap and had to be rushed to a hospital. He lived just long enough to get the BVN and collect about 25% of the money deposited in cash. He vowed never to take cash to a bank. His colleagues in the business, still alive, have learned a painful lesson: never again to take all your excess cash to a bank. For Y and S, the CBN can multiply by millions. People who no longer trust banks with their money. The period of cash scarcity and the empty streets in Lagos Island business district provided the opportunity for me to interview hundreds of individual traders and other business men and women. Wow. Yes. Obviously, the emotional position taken by CBN people holding has failed to reckon with the fact that people are keeping what is their money. They are under no legal obligation to take them to the bank until banks can be trusted. Habit is stronger than reason. That was the declaration of a Nobel Prize-winning economist Professor Robert Duffman, 1937 to 2022. Wow. Despite the gains made with the introduction of e-commerce, Nigeria is still a cash-based economy. I was an eyewitness to the cash payment of 3.5 million naira for the renting of a two-bedroom self-contained apartment recently. Mountains of cash change hands in all sorts of illegal businesses, activities, drugs, rice, vehicles and arms smuggling, human trafficking, crude oil theft, public private and NGO sectors corruption, illegal mining as well. Let everybody create votes in their homes and guard it with local charm against any robbery. I think that would be the best. OBJ said Western democracy is not working in Africa. Now I know, but that time una the abuser, una one finisher. Banking is not working. Nigeria bank is not working. Buhari and Emefiele have finally killed and buried the country. Japa is on the rampage again. Nigeria drastically become a dead zone. So guys, let's hear your opinion. And as it is now, the cash scarcity is going to be with us for a while because these guys do not even have solutions to anything. Trying to blame the past government is not. It's neither here nor there.